We don't want to keep Kabuki butt reading.
Yeah, yeah. She'll start putting up random facts for everybody.
All right, gang. This is Are You Board Game Garbage? This is not my idea. I got this off of some comedians who are from the Philly area. Actually, it's called Are You Garbage?
Yeah.
But it's a little lewd and crude for some audiences. Yeah, I was a contractor. I'm used to that. But.
Right.
And today I have Sam Healey from Flipside of Gaming. I always want to say on the flip side. It's Flipside.
Flip side of board games. But yeah, that's my tagline. See you on the flip side. So, but yeah, I started doing that back with the Dice Tower, and Tom, when I started my own channel, Tom was like, he's been advertising for this for years on my channel. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Sam some oddball questions.
I'm an oddball.
We're going to see if he's garbage or if he's board game glamorous. We'll see.
I don't think I've ever been called glamorous. So.
Oh, I know I haven't. I've had some of my work called cute, which kind of bothers me. But
I use the word cute to describe some like area control game one time, and I had a hard time living that one down.
Did you?
I can't remember what game it was now.
Yeah, I can see it. Like I was in contracting before the trains, and you give somebody a piece of wood, and it's like cute, huh? Really cute. Okay.
Not quite.
All right. So the first question is: Have you ever made a video for a game unbeknownst to the publisher, and then tried to charge them to make a video for the game?
Have I ever made a video for a game unbeknownst to the publisher and then tried to charge them for it?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No.
You're starting off good there.
Yeah. No. No, I don't. No. Usually, if I'm going to charge something, that's a conversation you have beforehand. Yeah. Yeah. I've never done that before. That's for sure. Don't plan on doing it either.
Somebody in the hobby had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. No, I think if you're gonna ask for money, you got to do that on the front end of things, not on the back end.
Right.
But I guess I would have to see the exact circumstances of all that before I pass true judgment. But yeah, no, if I'm going to charge money for something, I'm going to ask them for it. And I've told people, like I just got through talking to some people at a convention that I won't name the convention because I don't want it to get back to whomever it was. But they were asking me if I would do some just to help their project get some traction, and I did a demo of it, and after I played the demo, talked to the designer, and I was like, I don't think I'm the person that you want to give money to, because there were just a lot of things that I just didn't find enjoyable about the game. But yeah, no, I mean, you ask for money for something, you got to do it on the front end. That's just the long and the short of it.
I agree, and you are correct, Kabuki. It was the duck test. I'm trying to remember what I asked Berkey here. I'm trying to get like 4 or 5 long. I'm still working this out. I'm trying to get 4 or 5 normal ones.
Fire away, man! Fire away.
Oh well, we were talking about the Duluth. Have you ever released a butt cracking at a con? That is what I call the ass crack.
Not that I'm aware of. No, I see. I noticed a lot of them, and I try not to. I'm always on that. I'm like straddling the line of do I go tell them or do I not go tell them? I'm always like in that mind space of I don't want them to continue doing this and have that be hanging out for everything, but at the same time, I don't want to come across like I don't want to embarrass them or anything like that. Yeah. So I'm always, I notice them all the time, and there have been times where I'm be like, hey, look out, something like that. But I don't think I've ever done it, or at least let me put it this way: I've never had anybody tell me that it was hanging out there. So um, I usually try to make sure my pants are pulled up as about as far as they can be without causing discomfort. So I don't think I have, but yeah, I don't wear the Duluth Trading Company underwears like Berkey said he does. I love the fact that he said underwears plural. Um,
Yeah.
it made me think of Nacho Libre, and
Yeah.
just the way he said it. I just thought it was funny. But yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would really admit to that, though.
Well,
We'll see.
I mean, I guess it would depend on the context of the situation, maybe. Because I try to be pretty good about laughing at myself. Because
Yeah.
if you don't laugh at yourself, you just start taking yourself too seriously. So, um, I think I would probably remember something like that, and I probably would laugh at it after the fact. But I guess it would depend on how embarrassed I was at the time. But I don't know. I try to laugh at myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I fail.
Yeah. I'm beyond that. I was in the hospital for months. Everybody and their mother saw what I got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was in the hospital last November, for I had appendicitis. I had to have my appendix removed, and there was also I forget what they call it, it had actually, infested or whatever, and there was a pit in there that they had to remove. I can't remember what they called
uh,
it. Abscess. There we go.
uh,
Abscess. And that was yeah, I was in the hospital for I think 11 days, because I had to have my appendix removed, the abscess removed, and then I also had they found on the other side that I had a 9 millimeter kidney stone
oh,
that
wow.
was just acting like a ball valve, and
Yeah.
and and so they had to go in there, laser it, and then remove it as well. So I in the span of about 11 days, I had I think it was three different surgeries, and so yeah, everybody and their mother. Um, my wife was there a lot, and she tried to help out as much as she could, but she had to go home at some point. But yeah, everybody and their mother saw everything I have. So it's just one of those things. You get to a certain age, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. That's a lot in 10 days. I never had appendicitis. I had stones in the abscess, but
Yeah.
uh, not at once. Uh, what was that? Oh, what's the mechanism that grabbed you? The first one that really caught your attention in the hobby.
It's not really a mechanism, I guess. It's more of a genre now, but cooperation.
It was okay.
Cooperative games are what really kind of a niche of mine that I really enjoy. And it's not that I only want to play cooperative games, but I love how when you have a regular game where there's competition, there's always that divisive factor that you want to help people as much as they can, but at some point especially after you feel like they're starting to catch on and they're starting to learn how to make the right decisions in a game or whatever, that you want to stop helping them, and then it becomes a contest between you and them, and there's less community there, and there's conflict, and I don't mind conflict. I love, Memoir 44 is one of my favorite games. Blood Rage is my favorite game, and so I love conflict games. I love competitive games. Don't get me wrong, but cooperative games are really kind of my jam for like board game nights and get-togethers and those kinds of things, because it's at that point it's all about community, and so that's really what kind of opened the hobby up for me, I think. And so I know it's not really a mechanism, it's more of a genre. So
Yeah.
I apologize for putting a twist on it, but I think it's more of that than it is any one particular mechanism, because I find that mechanisms are more like pieces of the recipe, and you can have uh, a mechanism that you really enjoy in one game, and you deplore it in another because the recipe is different. So I think I think my answer would be the cooperative games, because that's really what kind of made the hobby feel more like a community at that point. Whenever you're playing cooperative games.
Hmm. Well, since you switch it around, you're garbage. But no, I'm kidding. It's actually I have a similar thing with that. That's pandemic got me into the hobby,
Oh, okay.
and that was the one where it was like I did not realize a board game could do what pandemic did,
Sure.
and that it brought people together instead of pitting them against each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're cooperatively, coming together to try to beat the game. You're not trying to beat each other, and I really like that about cooperative games. I think I think they're if they aren't already, I think they're a staple for the hobby. If they don't exist, then you're it's going to start going downhill.
yeah, I could see that. All right, you're hosting a game night. What kind of snacks are you serving?
Cheetos. No, I'm just kidding. No, not Cheetos. Well, my wife and I, we host, along with a couple of other people that help us. We host a game night for our church, and usually we make we have it last long enough to where it spans over a meal, and we usually just bring a meal to that. But some of the snacks, not the meal, but some of the snacks that we usually bring along are things like meats and cheeses, kind of like a charcuterie board, but we don't go that fancy. My wife loves charcuterie boards, and she is very good at making them. But for the larger groups, we usually don't bring a charcuterie board. We usually just bring the elements of a charcuterie
Right.
board laid out there. So, fruits, veggies, cheeses, meats, crackers, that kind of stuff is usually what we have. And we're pretty lax about whether or not you're going to eat around the game or anything like that, because at the end of the day, for us at least, I understand how people can be protective of their investment, their property, whatever it might be, however you want to look at the game. We're a little bit more lax on it. I mean, we do. The people that come to our game nights are respectful, and they understand that they're using somebody else's property, and they treat it as such. But we've never had to really be sticklers about don't bring this, don't bring that, don't eat that around my game, that kind of stuff. We've never had to do that, but we usually stick to the cheeses and meats and crackers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Usually, with us is beer. We are Irish, but pretzel stuff. Yeah, meats and cheeses. I've
Yeah.
actually Thanksgiving was the last one we had. Before that, it's been a while.
Uh,
It's um, have you ever flipped a board in a game?
I've never flipped a board. I have, and I'm not proud of this, but I have wiped the board
Well, you
once.
did
Yeah,
intentionally or out of anger?
yeah,
Oh,
intentionally out of anger. I lost my cool. We were playing, my ex-wife, my second oldest son, David, and I were playing Nordic countries, Ticket to Ride Nordic countries. And if you've ever played Ticket to Ride Nordic countries, it's your run of the mill Ticket to Ride map, but it's got a lot more choke points than a regular Ticket to Ride map
right.
does, or at least it feels like it does. There are parts of the map that go through a very narrow canal, and if you don't get on that canal, if you don't get on those passages, you're cut off from like a third of the board. And there's a lot of towns up there that a lot of the tickets are trying to connect to. And my son was just being a normal third grade kid playing Ticket to Ride. He's lost interest basically, and now he's just playing the game. He's just playing within playing the game. And he's putting trains all over the place. And he's doing it out of just sheer chaos. He's just being that factor. And he's loving it. He's having a great time. And I am not. And so
Yeah.
I keep telling him I'm trying to be the good parent. I'm trying to say, listen, you need to start trying to work forward your tickets. You need to start trying to score points. You start, and I'm trying to coax him, but he's just not having it. He's just having too much fun, just dropping stuff everywhere and just watching us. Um, the blood continually drain from our faces as we lose ticket after ticket after ticket. And at one point, I was just like, okay, I'm done. And I threw my cards and I meant to just throw them down, but I let go of them a little bit sooner than I was expecting to. And they just hit the board and went, and I felt so bad immediately. I felt so bad, but it was just one of those things where I've never actually flipped a table. And I don't think that I ever would, but and I think the reason I don't think I ever would is because of how bad I immediately felt when I wiped the board playing with my ex-wife and my son, Ticket to Ride of all games.
Damn conscious.
Yeah, conscious of it now, exactly. So, but I mean, there have been some pretty heated like discussions over Risk 2210 and that's an especially backstabby version of Risk that I was playing with Tom, a pastor friend of ours, and this was in Korea, and another friend of ours, Ryan, and it was a four-player game, and it got heated. I mean, super heated, and I don't remember that I was involved in it, but I think Tom and the pastor were just really going after. They were both being super competitive, and nothing bad happened, but it was. I just remember getting very heated, and I was like that guy going, "Oh boy, I don't know what's gonna happen." But it was fun. It was a memorable experience. We've always come back to that and kind of chuckled about it. But
Sure, he remembered
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
it.
absolutely.
uh, yeah. What's the most extravagant accessory you bought?
Extravagant accessory
Yeah,
that I have
like
bought.
the one you splurged the most on, or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Specifically within board games?
yeah, yeah.
Or yeah.
I don't want to judge the rest of your life as being conscious. Just the board games.
Yes. You're just judging this one context. Okay. I would gee whiz. I would probably say you mean accessory.
Or it could be Kickstart, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, anything. Okay. I would probably have to say it was probably I I went well, I didn't go all in on the Kickstarter, but I found an all in of the Kickstarter at a store and I purchased it all, and that was Arkeis or Arcase, Arkeis. Huge box. I'm looking at it right over here, and it's got a huge box, core box, and then it's got like 3 or 4 different expansions that go along with it that are smaller boxes. But that's probably my biggest splurge at once. If you want to talk about like, I have 2 campaign bags of material for Memoir 44.
Memoir. Dude.
Um, and I used to have everything for Tannhäuser, but I
Not
sold it.
really.
Yeah, and all I have now is a core box. So, but as far as what I've purchased, yeah, it's probably Archice or all the Memoir 44 stuff that I've got. But half of that was Tom's stuff that he just got rid of, and he gave it to me so I could double up on it. But I had enough before he gave me all of his stuff. So that's
Yeah, it's
probably
actually. I'm sorry, guys.
no, no,
That's
no, no.
actually Memoir is actually one I'm starting to build up on the expansions on a little bit. I
Yeah,
do enjoy that system.
yeah, yeah. It's a great system. It's a great system.
Oh, I just had one. What was it? It had something to do with that, and I forget now. All right, well, this.
We'll come back.
All right. Who do you think is your most overrated designer?
Overrated designer. Ooh. Uh huh. Well, man, I
Piss on
hate
people's Cheerios,
yeah, I hate to
yeah.
rain on anybody's parade, really. But I'm tempted to say Knizia, but he's such an OG. I mean, he's so prolific. He has so many. I mean, the sheer number of designs that he has out in the market is staggering. So I can't really say that he's overrated because how prolific he is kind of speaks for its own. Um, I like too many of Eric Lang's games to say that he's overrated. Um, I really don't know. Honestly, I don't know that I could. Geez, I'm trying to I'm trying to find something that will help me quantify what I would say is, oh yeah, that guy there, he's overrated, or that lady there, she's overrated. I wouldn't. I think whether or not you like a board game is so subjective.
Yeah, it is personal. Yeah.
So for me to say that somebody's overrated, it's kind of like you're putting your it's kind of like you're putting your opinion up over above somebody else's. And I guess to me, I could say personally that designer A would, in my opinion, is overrated because I don't like any of their stuff. But that's probably more because I don't like the genre of games or the kinds of games that they put out, not necessarily that they are a overrated designer. Um,
Okay.
I,
All
just,
right.
I just I just
Let's
don't think I can quantify that.
we'll switch it up. What's your most underrated genre then,
Underrated, in
or
other
overrated rather? I'm sorry.
overrated. Oh, okay. I would have to. Well, I am less, and this is probably a camp more than it is a genre, but I am less a Euro gamer than I probably want. No, I'm more of a Euro gamer than I probably want to admit, but I don't like that about myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're ashamed of being a Eurogamer. Yeah, I get
No,
it.
I really find myself gravitating towards a lot of the mid-weight, um, a lot of the mid-weight games that are out there. I usually don't have a whole lot of time to play the heavier games. And the heavy Euros are the ones that I'm really not interested in, even close. Every time, and I always go back and I try to at least experience them so I can have some breadth of knowledge to talk about it at least intelligently. The last one that I played was Earth. Um, no, that's not true. I also played Darwin's Journey up in Calgary a couple of weeks ago, and I, it is not a game that I'll continue to come back to, but I really enjoyed the experience of
Experience, yeah.
playing the game, and the reason I did was because the theme was so intricately woven into the mechanisms of the game, and it made the mechanisms make more sense. And I love it when games do that, no matter what kind of game it is. So
Yeah.
I think if it's a kind of game where you are simply trying to figure out a puzzle, and um, you're trying to figure out the puzzle in a better way than your opponents, I think that's less about what I like, and I'm more about playing games for the experience and the camaraderie around the game. So the multiplayer solitaire games are probably the ones that I would say are the most overrated in my opinion, because those are not the kinds of games I want interaction between the players. And so if there's less interaction, I'm usually not on board with it. But the lighter the game is, the less interaction I'm able to withstand, because it's over faster, so you can get through the process of playing the game in that multiplayer solitaire experience if it's a lighter game, and then talk about it. So,
Right.
um, probably probably so I would probably say then games that have less player interaction are those games that are, overrated in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't. I play a lot of solitaire games just to learn them, but I
Sure.
don't get straight solitaire games, especially like this latest girl and all that. How they're so expensive, and they're
Yeah. Final Girl, I think is what it's
Final
called.
Girl. Yeah, I'm sorry, Final Girl. Yeah.
Well, I've started playing solo game. I started playing games solo mode a lot more recently because the people that are in my gaming group, they all have their regular 9 to 5s,
Mm.
and I'm doing this full time. So if I'm going to learn how to play a game, I like I like for it to have a solo mode so I can learn. So I am playing games solo more often, but it isn't because I really enjoy that genre. It's because it's out of necessity, so that I can learn how to play the game, so that
Right.
when we meet with the gaming group or when a buddy comes over, I know how to play the game and I can teach us how to play and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat you are, where I'm just trying to learn how to play the game, not necessarily enjoying the solitaire nature of the game.
Yeah, and I don't like compute like on the BGA and all that. I've tried that a few times. It's not the same. I rather have the tactile, the pieces,
Hmm.
and the table, the typing stuff on the side. That's not
No,
for
yeah,
me.
I absolutely agree with you. I will say though that my buddy JT and he just lives, a couple miles away and on the other side of the river. And, I had a scheduling mishap where I thought we were supposed to be meeting with a guy at 10 o'clock last night. And it's actually next Wednesday that we're doing it. So here's JT and I sitting on Discord and we're like, well, you want to play a game? And
Mhm.
so we went to BGA and I taught him how to play NAR. Cause I had, just, basically I deep dove into that game over the weekend at PAX, and I taught it to three different groups of people over the weekend, and then I taught my wife how to play before I left, and reviewed it when I got back, and so I taught him how to play it last night. We played a couple games on BGA, and then I stuck around for a little bit because I was ready for like a 2 hour
Meeting, yeah.
meeting with this guy in Europe, and so I was hopped up on coffee and caffeine, and I wasn't going to sleep. So I played a couple other people with and Hanami Koji or Hanama Koji, and that was fun. I mean, it is it is what it is. I'm with you in that I don't I don't prefer that medium as far as a medium to play board games. I would much rather have the tactile in person thing, but it's a cool thing to have available in those kinds of situations where you can't meet or you don't have the time to meet in person.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. But, so, have you ever got into a fight with your significant other while playing with other people?
Oh, while playing with other people, no, I don't. I mean, define getting into a fight. If it's just like a squabble, like, hey, don't take my thing and I'll not take your thing. Hey, you took my thing when you said you weren't going to, if it's that kind of thing, I'm sure that's probably happened. But not like, we didn't have like a knockdown drag out or anything like that, ever. So, but I mean, a little squabble here and there. I would imagine that's happened, but I don't think it's ever happened when somebody else was present. Usually it was probably usually just like a family game or something like that, or, um, but not when other people are around, like at a board game night or anything like that. We try to keep that kind of stuff under wraps anyway, whether somebody's around or not. Um, but we're especially careful when we are out in public because we want to have
You're
a
an
good
ambassador.
reputation,
Yeah.
and we want to we're usually the host, so we don't want to make people feel uncomfortable for selfish reasons. So we try to keep a pretty tight. We try to run a pretty tight ship around that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me and Jen are pretty much the same way. I've been at a table where it's happened with another couple. It was a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah. No, I've actually experienced the other end of it where and I really don't like it when this happens, but it happens where, you're playing a couple and they just, one of them is like super nice to the other one and the other one just super takes advantage of it. And it's like, you're supposed to be competing. You're not supposed to be helping each other. And I've been in those kinds of situations where it's almost the exact opposite, where they're just being too nice to each other. And that can mess up the flow of a game, but it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day.
along that vein, I'm going to ask the Carcassonne question.
Okay.
Jen has a habit of like merging into my stuff with the Carcassonne. One day, I had a bug up my butt or something, and I said, "If you do this, I will destroy you in this game."
Yep.
So, have you ever had that conversation with Jesse?
Oh, usually not Jesse. Jesse is too freaking nice to get mad at her in a game more often than not. Uh, so no, I don't think I've ever had that. I've definitely had those kinds of interactions with other people, but not Jesse. She's just too nice. She's too sweet. You can't really it's one of those things where it's they say that there are certain words that you can't say when you're angry. She's one of those kind of people that when you're playing games with her, you just it's hard for you to get mad. It's hard for you to get mad in any context. So, um, uh, so
All right,
I
how about T or JT then? How about him?
oh I holler at JT all the time. JT is one of those dudes that whenever you're playing him, you're playing for second place. Period. And I
Oh,
said that
okay.
jokingly, but I really mean it. Um, he is such a good gamer. Jason Levine, same guy, same kind of player. Not definitely the personalities are like super different, but the kind of player that they are, how analytical they are, how strategic they are. Yeah, there's certain time. I mean, JT's wife will sometimes go to the. I'm not sitting next to him. I need to sit next to somebody else because he always takes my stuff. That kind of stuff. And it's not that he's doing it, mean or anything like that. He's just super strategic and he can see what's best for other people and he can use how what other people really need to benefit him really well. So usually, it's the same stuff that you usually want to try to do in games, those competitive games. But he's also like really good at teaching games. I mean, really good at teaching games. And there's just something where I'm willing to trust his interpretation of the rules much more than I am myself even
Yeah.
because he just can grok and understand the rules a lot better and a lot faster than I ever could. But yeah, no, I'm hollering at JT all the time. I'm like, dude, don't even think about taking my thing. I will just, and of course it's all tongue in cheek, it's all
Yeah. Yeah.
people talk. But yeah, I'm always JT. No, I'll holler at him all the time, and he gives it right back too. So that's the cool thing about it, and that's one of the cool things that I was able to play some games of Blood Rage up in Calgary, and we were able to, the players around the table, we were able to do. That's where I really like playing games when you can like trash talk people,
Yeah.
and everybody knows it's just trash talk. There's absolutely no like no real meaning to what you're saying. You're just trash talking. That's a super fun context to play games in. And I was able to experience that with some people I had never met before. We just kind of, our
Jam.
personalities just kind of
Yeah.
intertwined, and it was really fun. But yeah, JT and I are like that a lot. We'll razz each other all day and twice on Sunday. So it's really fun.
Everybody should have a JT in their group.
Yeah.
I used to game with the Cabal guys, the secret Cabal guys, and Don was a very good teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was extremely. It could have been that Southern twang thing too, but he was a very good teacher. Yeah.
He just talks slower. That's how.
I used to mess with him. Watch your wallet whenever he's around. Watch your wallet. uh, are you a rules lawyer?
No.
Good.
I am more of a rules attorney. I like to find the loopholes. No, no, I am not. I'm not even close to being a rules lawyer. That's one of the reasons why I was talking about JT will more often he more often is able to internalize rules a lot better than I am. So usually, if he questions me, I will defer to his interpretation or what he thinks it might be. And he's not always correct either. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he is correct more often than I am. So I am not a rules lawyer at all. Uh, if if somebody will say, well, I think we should do it this way, or I'm also not a big house rules type person where
Yeah,
because I think that's you can do whatever you want to do on your game. No worries. It's your game. You play it the way you want to play it. But just when you're doing that, realize that you're upsetting the design cart that the designer spent years working on.
yeah,
So I usually and on the same, the other side of that coin, excuse me, if a game must be house ruled, then that means that's a design flaw.
yeah,
So I'm less willing to say that this game needs a house rule because, in essence, what you're saying is it's flawed. And so I'm not saying that that can't happen. It most certainly can, but I'm usually not a fan of house rules. I usually try to play the rules the way they were written by the designer and or publisher. Um, but I am not a rules lawyer. No, not even.
yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way.
Mhm.
I've only house ruled one game because we were playing with so many new players. It was like a catch up mechanism for them.
Got it.
Um, yeah, I'm the same. If it needs a house rule, then there's something wrong with the game. You wasted your
Sure.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, and the rules lawyer thing, I'm stoned half the time, so I can't remember rules. So there's that. uh, what's your guilty pleasure game?
Guilty pleasure game. Uh, well, define what you mean by guilty pleasure, I guess.
One you think you should be ashamed of being caught being played with?
Bianca, I should be ashamed of it.
Or
Um,
you feel ashamed? I should say you should.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get what I understand. I just wanted a little bit more direction. Man, I don't know. I mean, I want to. Pardon me, I'm not turning my back on you. I'm just trying to see. I'm a very visual person, so I usually can't come up with answers for some things without looking at it and having a representation in my mind about it. Um, I guess. I would go with one of two probably. And that would be probably either Cosmic Encounter or Ticket to Ride. And the reason is that I think Ticket to Ride is such a gateway game, but it's such a familiar game at this point that I feel like if I'm still enjoying it, I maybe haven't traversed as far in my journey of board games as I think I have. But I still find myself enjoying Ticket to Ride. But I will say that the caveat is the ones that I'm enjoying are the smaller ones, the ones that take only about 30 to 40 minutes. The city line of Ticket to Ride games, San Francisco, Amsterdam, I think the new one is Berlin, New York, London. Those smaller ones, I really enjoy those the most. With Cosmic Encounter, I can't believe that it's such a fun game. It's just a negotiation game, and then you have deterministic card combat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like there's so little to it, but it's such a fun game. So it's kind of a guilty pleasure because Tom for so many years was like, it's the best game ever, and I'm like, it literally isn't. But but again, that's his opinion versus mine. Which one of us is correct? Neither of us. It's just an opinion. But the fact that it's really something that I probably, because I'm not very good at negotiation, um, in games at least. I feel like I shouldn't enjoy it as much as I do, but I do.
Hmm, okay. All right. um, I had what? I'm sorry. I was thinking about two things. I
No, you're
can't
fine.
focus anymore. Uh, what's your favorite con and why?
My favorite con.
Yeah,
Um, what do you mean by con?
a convention. You know,
Oh,
board game
oh,
convention.
oh. See, I was thinking pros and cons. Wow.
Oh yeah, the review
Got
thing.
it.
Sorry.
Got my favorite convention, and I've only been a couple of times, but I think my favorite convention is UKGE, and it's been years since I've been there, so I don't know how accurate it would be, but I I don't know why, but that convention feels more like uh I don't know, it's really strange. It feels more like uh a homey kind of convention than the rest of the conventions that I've ever been to. And that might be partially because the last time I've been, it was smaller. I know it's grown a lot since I've been there, but uh, I used to put Origins and UKGE both on kind of the same level, and I think UKGE has probably grown past Origins because they had a dip a little bit. But I really enjoyed, um, first of all, the country, the context, I enjoyed being able to go up to Nottingham and go see Warhammer World. I enjoyed the people, spending time over there, and the I don't know. There was just kind of almost like a sense of camaraderie that was inherent in that convention that I usually don't feel in a lot of different conventions. I'm not a big group kind of person. Now don't get me wrong. I've gone to a lot of, like, metal concerts. I've been to a lot of places, a lot of events that had big groups of people in them, but I never really. I went there not because I enjoy being in a big group of people. So conventions were always kind of like a necessary, if I can put air quotes around the word evil, because I don't really enjoy big groups of people, but it was part of the job. It was
Yeah.
something that you had to do, and I enjoyed the personal interactions that I had at conventions. But if if we could have had those personal interactions in a much smaller setting, I would have been much more at ease and comfortable. But UKGE had that. It was a bigger convention that had that hometown feel to it, and in my opinion. And so that's the one that I've always kind of come back to. All the other conventions are fun and they're good and they're great places to network, great places to see people that you start forging strong relationships with over the course of the year because you're all going to the same conventions. You get to see each other and time and time again. But UKGE just kind of stood out as being, if I could say it this way, my people. But they weren't. I didn't know anybody there any
Yeah.
more than I do any other convention. It just had that feel. So that's probably my favorite one.
For a minute, I thought you were going to say that one in Florida.
Eh, well, here's the thing. I that one was different.
Work. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't necessarily work. It was work, but it was different because we were the hosts. You know what I mean? And so it just had a little bit of a different feel. It was almost not even put into the same category.
Right.
Um, I enjoyed all of the events that we went to with the Dice Tower, and I still enjoy the fact that Tim brings me back to Dice Tower West every year. I really enjoy that fact because, well, first of all, Tim's a great guy, and then on top of that, I get to see all the other guys and interact with some of the old fans and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super stoked that I'm able to keep going back to Dice Tower West. But those events that we hosted were in kind of a different camp as far
Yeah.
as all of the other conventions that we went to.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's one I never wanted. The one in Florida, just because. Well, three reasons. It's in July in Florida.
Yes.
Fourth of July in Florida, and
Yeah.
it's in July in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in Orlando, one of the hottest places in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. No, I get it. Yeah, that's one thing I super do not miss in Florida is the weather. Um, there's a internet thing that every time that we get a lot of snow up here in Washington State, I take a picture of it. I'll take a picture of my like shoveling snow or doing something laborious because we have 2 feet of snow that fell overnight. And I'll put hashtag still better than Florida weather, and Florida people lose their mind. And I'm like, yes, I get to shake my fist at you.
yeah, I couldn't do it. Well, Dallas isn't much better. Like BGG spring, I think is my favorite con.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, I'd like to go back to fall. It's been a few years since I've been to the fall one, but
Mm.
I haven't been in Dallas during the summer. I've been there the spring and the fall. So Scott was telling me like there was a Bucky sign that melted. It was so hot down there.
Man,
I don't
cool.
want to. I was like,
Dang,
no.
that's unreal.
Yeah, I like my 3 seasons now up here in Delaware. It used to
I
be
like
four.
I like 4 seasons. I really do like 4 seasons. Fall is great, but usually up here, fall is a little rainy. I'm not such a big fan of cold and rainy. I like cold and snowy because those two match, but cold and rainy just seems like it's nasty outside if it hits that. But the rest of the seasons up here are great, and I like having that seasonal flow that I just never had living down in the South. I grew up, I was born and raised in Texas, grew up along the Gulf Coast, spent about 4 years over in Germany when my dad was in the Air Force. But, well, when my dad got stationed in Germany while he was in the Air Force, he was in the Air Force for like 22 years. So it wasn't just 4 years. But, um, and then we came back and we lived on the Gulf Coast. And uh, I grew up with heat all the time, and I'm glad to have rid myself of it. It still gets hot up here. There's still a month in the summer that it gets up to like, or at least a couple of weeks in the summer that it gets up to like 110, 111. But it's not the humid kind of heat that you get down in the South.
Yeah, that's horrible. That humidity. It's like walking in soup.
Yeah, exactly. It's like walking through soup. It's gross.
Yeah, we don't have a winter here pretty much anymore. We used to get snow and all that, not so much. Today it snowed for the first time. It was like barely an inch.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, even when I went up to the mountains, I go up to Appalachian Mountains in PA every year. I'm
Mm.
used to snow being on the ground there, and there was none.
Oh, wow.
Till the day I was leaving, it started to like a flurry.
Yeah.
So it's just been a warm year, I think. But the
Mhm.
last few years, we haven't really had too much snow here in the last decade or so. I
Yeah.
used to actually do the removal for the trains back in the day before I actually worked for SEPTA.
Uh-huh.
And I remember going out there in a blizzard and all. Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
get that anymore.
That's good.
Yeah.
Blizzards are bad. I don't like blizzards. I don't mind snow, but having blizzards, that's not good.
Yeah, well, we get them nor'easters and all that up here on the East Coast, so it's pretty much the same thing, depending on how cold it is.
Right.
Or we used it, not so much anymore, not
Yeah.
this far south. All right. Do you have a favorite player color that you will not give up on?
No, I don't. I do have a favorite player color. But I will usually give up on it. It's green. I love green's my favorite color. And so I enjoy playing that more, just because I can more readily see what's my stuff, without having to go through that secondary. Oh wait, I'm not playing green. Oh yeah, I'm playing blue, so I got to do that. So green is my favorite color, but I will readily let somebody else play it. Not a big deal at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just green is my favorite color also, and I will give it up, but I will forget that I give it up.
Yes. I've done that many times where I'm sitting here playing a game and I'm like looking at all of the green pieces and planning out my next turn. And then I'm like, oh crap, I'm not playing green because the person next to me started moving all the green pieces on their turn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've done that very much.
All right.
I just realized that I should probably be looking at the chat on my channel and um, uh,
Yeah, my focus ain't there yet. One thing at a time, Sam.
yeah, I know.
Kabuki, the bot keeps the chat going. Kabuki.
Yeah, yeah. Kabuki's got it going. Kabuki's
All
got
right, last three. What was your favorite mass-produced game growing up?
my favorite mass-produced game growing up. Hmm. The ones that I probably have the most memories of, and some of them are just they're not like you know solid memories. They're just more like of impressions. But I remember playing Hi Ho Cherry-O a lot when I was a kid, and I also remember playing checkers and chess a lot when I was a kid, but I was never super good at it. By the time I was in high school, I was in a DECA class with um, it's the Distributive Educational Clubs of America. Way back in the day, it was connected to off-campus work, work release and all this other kind of stuff. But I was in a DECA club class with a kid that was well, I was the same. He was older than me, but he was ranked, I think, eighth in the nation in his age group.
Oh wow.
And I remember playing against him, and he beat me in 3 moves. And I was like, okay, not playing chess with you anymore because that wasn't fun at all.
It never
so,
is.
so I would probably say the and it's not, I mean it is mass produced, I guess, but it's not probably what everybody else would think. But I remember playing checkers the most with my grandparents and with my mom, and then there's some chess thrown in there as well. But those are the ones that I probably enjoyed the most. I also, as I got older and that kind of thing, the risks and the Axis and Allies games were always ones that I would gravitate towards, because my dad was in the military, so I gravitated towards militaristic type stuff. It
Mhm.
was the Air Force, so it wasn't like it was
It's
Army or
not really
Marine or anything
military.
like that. But um, so I had those, I guess, not really proclivities to it, but I just was drawn to them more, and I enjoyed playing those. But those are probably it. I never really enjoyed Monopoly. I've never really been an economic minded person, so and that's all Monopoly is just trying to get more money and more properties and all this other kind of stuff, and that never really appealed to me. It was always kind of boring.
Yeah, Monopoly is my least favorite, but it took me a while to realize that people weren't playing by the actual rules, so the game was dragging on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Uh, yeah, I don't. I grew up in a house where kids were like there, but not. It's like
Yeah.
get out of the house.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
it
Get out of the house.
out.
Go play. Yeah.
I really don't remember playing too many games. Well, my brother risked later on, and we played for days. But he was in the army by that point. Um,
Right.
and I vaguely remember Mousetrap with my sister. But other than that, yeah. Like I said, I just recently realized I didn't play. I've never played Access and Ally, so I bought it a couple months ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm actually glad I did. Every time I played, I see a new strategy. I've only played about half a dozen times so far, but
Yeah.
it still intrigues me.
Hmm.
Um, what is there somebody you would like me to do this to?
Uh,
Yeah.
is there somebody that I would like to have you do this to?
Once
Let's
I
see.
figure out how to explain it to people.
Yeah, right, right. Let's see. Who Derek Funkhauser would be a fun one to watch. I think you'd have a good time talking to him. He's a good guy.
Okay.
Derek Funkhauser, he's board game spotlight, and uh, he's got a Facebook podcast. He, myself, and Ruel Gaviola are resurrecting the board game spotlight podcast, and
Okay.
we've started doing it together. So he's a good guy. I've been spending more time with him recently. Um, Bubba Stallcup or Matt Wambier from Love Thy Nerd. I think those two guys
Yeah, I actually enjoyed them.
would be good conversationalists for you. So those there, I gave you three. You only asked me for one, but I gave
Beggars ain't choosers.
you.
Yeah. Is there a question you would like to add to this list?
Oh, question for who?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm basically splitting it up into like designers, media, and what was the other one? Uh, I forget what the other one was.
Designers, media, and
Something else but the hobby. I can't remember. But that's
publisher.
basically publisher, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Um, well, Matt and Bubba would definitely be probably media. Derek could actually fit a couple of those different niches because he does work with Wise Wizard. And he is pretty heavily involved in their process now, I think. So he could probably fit into both of those camps. What question would I like you to add to it? Well, if it's Derek, um, ask him why does he spend so much loyalty on the garbage Cubs?
Cubs. Okay.
Now, I'm a Cubs fan, so you got to tell him that that question comes from me, and then he won't get offended. He probably won't get offended anyway. But if it's Matt or Bubba, ask them. No, if it's Matt, you ask him why Lorcana.
Okay. I'd actually be interested to know that.
um, with Bubba, you ask him how he gets his beard to look so majestic.
Majestic beard. Okay.
Yes, majestic beard questions.
oh,
Oh, I just spurted coffee on myself.
I hate
Crud.
when that happens.
Yeah.
I do that. That's why I got this thing. I drop stuff all the time.
Yeah. Right. That's how it goes.
It's the neurological stuff. So what do you got going on in the future here, Sam?
Well, let's see. We have got some pretty cool things. I just got uh, a new logo for my channel. It was gifted to me by a very competent graphic designer in Portugal, and I could not be more stoked about that. So we're going to be getting some. We're going to be getting some merch and some more type of branding stuff done in the future for our channel. We are We've got we're going on the Dice Tower cruise next month, and we're my whole family's going, so we're all really looking forward to that. We're going to be going with JT and Mel as well. They went last year, and they automatically signed up for this coming year, almost right off the bat. So we're looking forward to spending some time with them and getting to see the old stomping grounds, as it were, back then. After that, I'm pretty hazy on what we've got going on later on. I'm toying with the idea of going to Tantrum Con, but it's right after we get back from the cruise,
Mm.
and I don't know that I want to spend another few days. I mean, I guess if you look at it from I just spent the entire week with my family. Now I can but I don't look at it that way. Anytime I go to a convention, it's time away from my family, and I'm not necessarily jazzed about that. So I'm toying with Tantrum Con, but I don't know yet. Then Dice Tower West is coming up next year. Pretty close after that. So that's coming up in the future. But those are the things. I am. We're me, as I already mentioned, me and Derek and Ruel are doing the Board Game Spotlight podcast together, and I'm looking forward to having that be a kind of a monthly staple in my content creation. I really enjoy that. But we're going to start, just keep on doing what we're doing. As far as our week-to-week schedule, I'm trying to get more live reviews done. Doing live reviews is a little bit easier for me because I don't have to spend the time editing them, and so I'm hoping to start getting more reviews done as I keep doing them live instead of having them edited. And then JT and I are going to be doing some more top 10s. We've got top 10 of 2023 and 2022 that we're probably going to be recording over the weekend, and one of those will go up next week probably. I've got a couple previews. Well, one preview that's going to be delivered to the publisher this week, and they're launching that campaign next month, I believe. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming on, but we're just keeping our nose down and getting things done, so that you just keep swimming. That's the idea that I come back to. Just keep swimming, and you're never going to reach the finish line. It's just going to be one of those things where we just keep going.
Cool. I'll let the chat decide if you're garbage.
All right.
What game are you looking forward to trying out?
We are actually playing tomorrow. We are actually playing the final version of Last Light, Roy Canaday's game, put out by Gray Fox Games, and it's been a long time coming. I backed the campaign as soon as I found out that it was live, and been waiting with bated breath ever since. So it came in right before I left to go to PAX. So I basically unboxed it, punched it, put it all together, and then took it to JT and said, "We're playing this when I get back." So he's read the rules, and we're going to be playing it live tomorrow, just he and I. And I'm really looking forward to it because people are raving about this game, and I'm really happy for Roy to have been to have this payoff coming to him, because he poured his heart and soul into that game, and I'm just very happy that he's been able to have such a good experience with it. So I'm looking forward to giving it a try. I've only played prototype versions of it, and it was probably a couple iterations ago that I did. So I'm looking forward to giving it a whirl. So that's probably the one that I'm looking forward to the most right now. After that, kind of new games, Senjutsu and Kangacheros, a game from Ares Games, and then the Senjutsu is from Lucky Duck. I'm looking at diving into those here pretty quick, and then Arcase, and another one called Pax Viking. Those are the four that are really kind of in the forefront right now for me.
Yeah, last night I never try. I don't think I'll be able to get the table micro. It's the only reason. Lance just tried to get me to play test it and all that. It's just
Which
like I
one?
said, last night. I hope
Oh,
they have. I hope they have good luck with it. You know,
yeah.
it seems like a cool game, but like I said, I don't think I'll get it to the table. I never heard of the other three games you mentioned.
Kabuki Kid just said that Shane from Gray Fox said that Last Light was the game he had to change the least from its initial state to production. So
Yeah,
that's
I do remember Shane saying that. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, it's I'm a big fan of 4X, and for him to have fit 4X into a couple of hours and have it be, from what everybody's saying, to have it be that satisfying 4X experience, that's something else. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, good luck with him. Who was his first design, right?
Yeah, it is. And I've heard kind of kind of through the grapevine. I can't really say from who or from where that I've heard it, but he's got some other things coming down the pike as well. So it was his first, but it probably will not be his last.
His last. Yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, I know Lance been talking about this thing for months, but
Yeah,
I know it's over with finally. They're looking at another reprint, I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There, it's sold out almost everywhere. Roy was posting about that a couple days ago, where everywhere he looks, it's sold out. So they're probably going to do second printing here pretty quick, I'd imagine. JT JT says, "Oh wait, I was supposed to read the rules. What?"
That was
Yeah,
actually one of my questions I didn't ask. Have you ever reviewed a game while reading the rules?
while reading. No.
That
Oh no, I certainly do not have the cojones to do something like that.
was
Um,
going to be my opener. I went with the duck test instead.
no way. No, usually I think the least amount of times I've ever reviewed a game. No, I'm sorry. The least amount of times that I've played a game and then reviewed it is, I think, two, and it was a very small game, not a whole lot of rules, and but other than something like that, I usually want to get a play in that has with each of the different player counts. Like for example, if it goes from 1 to 4, then I want to play it with one player. I want to play it with two. I want to play it with three. I want to play it with four, just to see how it goes. I used to not even bat an eye at solo modes, but now that my context is a little bit different, I have the ability, I guess, to sit down and learn how to play the game solo and then play it a couple times solo. So I'm much more open to that now. But I used to not even try it solo. Um, but but yeah, no. Reviewing a game while you're reading the rules, no, that would be a breach of protocol. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure for some people. I like I said, this is my hobby, but I've exposed myself to behind the scenes stuff, and I regret it sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah, that there's always and I think it's anywhere you go, there's always going to be that pocket of whatever hobby that you're in that, it's like, that dark area over there, we don't go there. That's where the hyenas live, that kind of thing.
yeah,
And unfortunate, it's unfortunate, but that's just I think part of the human nature is that there's always going to be at least a group of people that like to turn on each other and turn on themselves even, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, there's always a darker underbelly to almost anywhere you go, and it's unfortunate to have to brush shoulders with it sometimes.
yeah, it is. But it's everywhere, like you said. It's not just the board games.
Yeah,
Some
true.
are more toxic than board games.
Absolutely,
Some communities.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. Where can people find you at the YouTube channel? And
Yeah, the YouTube channel is called it's called FobG, the flip side of board games. And there's a new logo out there. It used to just be a something that I came up with myself. Um, late one night, and I was just wanting to go to bed, and I needed to get it done. So I did not put a whole lot of time into it. But the new one is much better, much more colorful, much more vibrant. And so if you type in FOBG, flip side of board games, or just flip side of board games, it should come up here pretty quick within the first couple of responses. I also have a Facebook page that I usually like. I usually post on Facebook and Twitter when we're going live with whatever we're going live with. And we usually do that about 15, 20 minutes before we actually go live. I also have an Instagram page that people can follow. And that's more not really, it's not really connected. You know, there's a link to my YouTube channel in the bio of my Instagram profile, but that's more just, you know, kind of off the cuff type stuff. It's not really connected. I do post sometimes there, you know, when we're going live or something like that. But Instagram's a little wonky because you have to click the link in the bio and then you can go and then you have to find the thing. They won't let you put actual links to the videos in the just the comment that you put next to the picture. So I usually I've been doing that, you know, notifying people through Instagram more recently now, but I used to not do it at all because of that little glitch. But Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, those are the four places that you can interact with me, and I'm happy to have you.
Go like and subscribe to Sam's channel. You can do it to mine. I don't care either way.
Yeah, do it.
Like I said.
Do it to Barry's channel too. He's the one that hosted this. He's the one that should get all that. So
Nah, it's my hobby. Like I said, come along if you want. It's mainly for me. Yeah.
There you go.
But so was this too mean? That's my biggest fear is coming off too negative with this.
No, it's not mean at all. It's just, you know, it's the way I was explaining it to Jesse earlier was that, you know, you ask or rather, I'm sorry, you ask atypical questions. You know, when you go into a interview with in the board game, you can you can almost guess sometimes. You can almost guess the questions that are going to be asked. But with this one, no, you can't. And that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I thought the premise would be fun for the hobby in general. I was trying to get Scott to do it on BGG. I didn't want to be a part of it because I know how I am. You know, I curse a lot. I'm not the normal gamer.
Yeah.
I was in construction most of my life, so there's that part. You know, it's a different world,
right?
But I couldn't explain it to him. You know, I couldn't explain the premise without it seeming like I'd be picking on somebody.
Like you've got him in the crosshairs. No, I get it. No, one of the things that I like about it is that it's not and you kind of said it yourself, it's not flashy and it's not fancy or anything like that. It's boots on the ground, you know. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just a good conversation. So it's good and it's relevant, so I like it.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. And
yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We'll have to do this again because, you know, we always run the risk of turning into garbage at some point. You have to do it again later on to see if I've turned into garbage, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I am garbage, and maybe I can become more glamorous later on.
Well, I'm only looking at one chat, and Kabuki was the only one woman enough to speak up. So I'm going to say your board game. You're not garbage and you're not glamorous. You're board game general. Okay.
That's awesome. I'll take board game general any day. That's awesome.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll have JT and Jesse on.
Yes, that'll be. I would absolutely enjoy having both or one of them on. Absolutely. That would be a great time.
All right, so for everybody watching, thanks for watching. I never know how to end these things. Even when I did the sit downs, I never.
JT said, so good. I hit the like button twice. And I think he knows what that means. He liked it, and then he didn't like it. That's
Uh,
great.
this was fun.
All
All right,
right.
guys. See you
Thanks so
later.
much, Barry.
Thank you. Same.